Welcome back to Music Theory Logic. Today is going to be another making it from scratch where I am making a beat or an instrumental without having done this before. Today I thought it'd be fun to write in the genre or the realm of house music. House music, if you're familiar with the genre, has many different subgenres, and this is just going to be something at 124 beats per minute with a 4 on the floor type groove. Let's go ahead into the Logic session. So I've preloaded some samples in here as well as some instruments. That is to make it easier on my computer and expedite this process. I am going to write the MIDI from scratch. So our main synth instrument, first I have to pick a key to write in. Let's do something, how about in the key of B minor? I could start with trying to write a root note progression, so using like A, B. Let's solo out just this. Basic root notes in the key of B minor. B minor has the same notes as D major. That means it has two black keys. Those black keys are F sharp and C sharp. F sharp is the 5 of the key of B minor. So if we were to then harmonize these, in other words, add other notes to make it the full harmony, we could make, let's see, a minor 7th chord. Interesting voicing. We could go to a D major 7. Nice. Now, one thing I haven't really done in these making it from scratch is use a suspended harmony, or the way that where suspended harmonies came from. So for instance, if I am in the key of, let's see here. So if I'm going to an A, right? I could go to an A major chord, but what note is not in my chord here? These are. What about the F sharp? I could leave that note in. Now, suspended comes from these notes resolving after you would hear them. So I could go to the actual note from the chord. What if we go on beat 2? We could keep it in minor, do a minor 7th. And let's have some different resolution. Cool. That'll work for us. Let's write a little bass line. So a lot of times in this genre, you get a bass line that doesn't really follow the chord progression. It stays on the 1, and I'm going to kind of do that. So I built this sound in Serum, super basic. It has the analog bass drum sign and oscillator A. That's down an octave. I'm using bend plus, not even using oscillator B. And then effects-wise, I'm using LFO Tool to control the distortion, and I'm doing some really basic compression. So that sounds like this. we could go to the 5 at the end. All right, so I did a short on this. I'm going to showcase this technique right here. If you go to pitch bend automation, most of the DAWs have the ability to do this. You could write in some movement here. Now that's going to try to mimic it in time. And if I take that and then copy it all over like that, repetition is going to really help our ears hear it. Now let's just hear it. Now you might not hear that much, but that's because the pitch bend controls the amount of pitch bend as dictated by the parameter with whatever synth you're using. So like if I increase this, you hear it more. Let's get some drums in here. We've got our kick drum, and this is going through a low pass filter. Cool. One other instrument I already had in here. It's the same synth that you hear before, but it's going through this Arturia filter M12 and or M12, and this is the preset kick and tops. And what's kind of cool is it takes a synth and makes it feel kind of like a drum kit. Cool. Next sound I have in here is a secondary perk. It's actually created by taking the kick drum above this, filtering it, printing it, and then pitching it with Little Ultra Boy by Sound Toys. So if I take this and add a little syncopation, if we just hear the drums, it sounds like this. Now with this, let's add a little bit of swing. Believe it or not, that's going to go a long way to add to what we've got here. We could do a quicker intro than we'd probably typically do, like a commercial house track. Leave these a lot more open than they were. We can add our snare 2 in here. making sure I get an actual standard backbeat. If you don't know or you don't have it, I wrote a music theory textbook, which if it has any critique, it's that it's too simple. That is because you really don't need a lot of crazy terminology or sophisticated music theory to write or understand a lot of music that you like. If you like 99% of people enjoy listening to music that is generally popular, you don't need a lot of theory for that. And in that book, I talk about different drum grooves, and the standard backbeat being on beat 2 and 4 is going to be the most common that you find in any genre, but that is also true for house music. So we get this. So I got to go back to just those 2 layers. We could add some filtering in here. So taking that main synth and doing a filter sweep. It kind of feels like something a DJ might do live on the mixer, like this. Cool. All right. Then let's take our main synth, bounce it in place, and play with it on the LFO tool to see if we can kind of create the similar vibe of triplet, I believe, 16th note triplet. So let's go extra records, LFO tool. Actually go to 16th notes. So hard for me to see this. And then let's add some swing in. And then let's drop our sub in there, and then let's take this and do the actual root note. So once again, the low notes, looks like we went B, D, A, F sharp. So B, another thing we could do is let's bounce an instance of that from earlier on where it's not filtered. We could use that filtered one in our build up. My dog Charlie makes some funny sounds when he's sleeping. It's like doggy COPD maybe. All right, so that's not what we want. That through our not the coolest drop idea. A couple of things we could do. We could develop the bass more, so maybe give it some harmonics or something that's a little bit more interesting. So we could bring in the second oscillator. Play with the actual wavetable. Just adding a little bit more sonic candy for when that drops. All right, let's hear this from the beginning. Once again, not the craziest beat, but these are always really fun ideas to make. And if you find these cool, be sure to follow and subscribe to the channel, because I basically take these and develop them into further ideas or into complete songs. I did a drum and bass track, which eventually I will release on my artist alias. So let's go ahead and hear this from the beginning. Let's make sure we... So I don't really like that fully opening up. Let's see what it sounds like with just a louder instance. Delay trail. All right, cool. Hopefully you found that helpful. Once again, I come out with these almost every Friday. I make all sorts of different kinds of music. If you want me to try to replicate a style or try to build something in a style, I love a challenge. Just leave it in the comments. Once again, my name is Andrew. Thank you for hanging out here. I will see you next time on Music Theory Logic. Go make some music, and remember to have fun while you're doing it, since that is what it's all about. Cheers.